The hidden reality of a legend, Tina Turner seemed to have the perfect life. She had an incredible career spanning decades, during which she won no less than 8 Grammy Awards. She was married to a wonderful man in the final years of her life and had a horde of adoring fans. But beneath her seemingly perfect life, there were many things Tina Turner was hiding. Nearly a year after her passing, her husband Erwin Bach is finally opening up about Tina's struggles in the years leading up to her death, and some of his confessions will leave you shocked. Tina Turner's life was even more tragic and incredible than many realize. To start, her real name was not Tina. She was born Anna Mae Bullock on November 26, 1939 in Nutbush, Tennessee. Her parents worked as sharecroppers, and she spent her early years picking cotton alongside them. However, when World War II began, their lives took a dramatic turn. Tina's parents took jobs at a defense plant in Knoxville, Tennessee, but made a difficult decision. They left Tina and her 2 sisters behind. A childhood defined by abandonment. Tina was sent to live with her strict religious grandparents, and this separation meant she would not see or play with her sisters for years. It wasn't until the end of the war in Europe that the children were reunited with their parents. But Tina's most painful childhood experience was yet to come. At just 11 years old, Tina Turner experienced a deeply traumatic incident that scarred her for life. That year, her mother abruptly abandoned the family without warning, escaping an abusive relationship with Tina's father. Her mother fled to St. Louis, leaving her children behind. This abandonment left Tina feeling deeply unwanted and unloved, which profoundly impacted her growth. The turmoil of Tina's young life continued into her teens. 2 years after her mother left, her father remarried, but the children were not part of the plan. Tina's father and his new wife moved to Detroit, and once again, the children were left behind. Tina and her sisters were sent to live with their other grandmother in Brownsville, Tennessee. But here, Tina asserted herself. After being abandoned first by her mother and then by her father, Tina had become independent and began to forge her own path. During her teens, Tina worked as a domestic worker for a wealthy family while living with her grandmother. A career in music and the name Tina Turner were still far off. Instead, she faced more heartbreak. In her mid-teens, Tina suffered a devastating ordeal. Her half-sister Eveline and 2 cousins were involved in a fatal car accident. The tragic crash claimed all their lives, marking the beginning of a series of losses that would deeply shape Tina's future. When Tina was 16, her grandmother in Tennessee passed away. At the funeral, Tina was stunned to meet her mother, who had abandoned the family years earlier. Her mother asked Tina and her sister to move to St. Louis and live with her. With no other family or guardians to turn to, Tina felt isolated, and joining her mother in the bustling city became her only option. Thus, it was time for Tina to leave the small-town life of Tennessee and embrace the bright lights and music scene of the big city. The birth of a star and a new identity. During her high school years in St. Louis, Tina Turner often frequented nightclubs and music venues with her sister. One night at the Manhattan Club, a decisive moment unfolded when she met Ike Turner and his band, the Kings of Rhythm, whose performance would change her destiny and her name. At only 18 years old, Tina had already faced many challenges, and now her breakthrough was on the horizon. Captivated by Ike Turner and his band's music, Tina was determined to sing with them despite the absence of women in the group. After Ike initially ignored her requests, Tina took matters into her own hands on a crucial night in 1957. During the band's break, she slipped onto the stage and grabbed the microphone from behind the drums. During her impromptu performance, she performed a blues ballad by B.B. King. This unique moment changed everything. Her electrifying performance immensely impressed Ike Turner, who invited her to sing more. She took possession of the stage for the rest of the night, and shortly after, Ike offered her a permanent role as a singer in the band. With Tina, the Kings of Rhythm now had their queen. Despite the notoriety they would later achieve as a couple, Ike and Tina did not start their romantic relationship right away. It took some time. At first, Tina focused on other relationships. She began dating Raymond Hill, the saxophonist for the Kings of Rhythm, while her sister dated the drummer. However, this arrangement quickly led to complications. Still a teenager in her senior year of high school, Tina found herself pregnant with Raymond Hill's child. When she confided this to her mother, the reaction was devastating. Her mother was so upset that she kicked Tina out, breaking their relationship for the second time. With no other options, Tina moved in with Hill, who was living with Ike Turner. Tina gave birth to her son, Craig Turner, but quickly faced a new abandonment when Raymond Hill returned to his hometown and never came back. Without family support and rejected by her mother, Tina found herself a single mother, relying only on music and the band for stability and support. The dark side of fame and marriage. During this difficult period, Tina Turner faced solitude and fear, but she took advantage of every moment. At only 19 years old, after receiving singing lessons from Ike Turner, Tina recorded her first song titled Box Top, sharing credits with another male singer in the group. At the time, she called herself Little Ann, but a significant transformation was on the horizon. Around this time, Ike Turner had written a song for Art Lassiter and had planned a studio recording session. Tina was present as a backup singer, but when Lassiter did not show up, she convinced Ike to let her take the lead vocals. Ike reluctantly agreed, planning to replace Tina's vocals with Lassiter's later. But fate had other plans. Tina's performance was so powerful that Ike decided to send the tape to Sue Records, an R&B label in St. Louis. The response exceeded Tina's wildest expectations. Impressed by Tina's voice, the president of Sue Records, Juggy Murray, bought the rights to the song from Ike for the impressive sum of $25,000. Murray also insisted that Tina be the star of the show. With a substantial financial incentive, Ike agreed and christened his singer Tina Turner. Tina's first single, A Fool in Love, initially intended for another artist, became a sensational hit. From the beginning, Ike Turner exercised control over Tina, going as far as trademarking the name Tina Turner. This measure ensured that if Tina left the group, he could replace her with another under the same name. It was a troubling sign that Tina unfortunately overlooked, laying the groundwork for a tumultuous relationship where she would later have to fight for her name, her music, and even her own safety. Their union as Ike and Tina began at a party in 1960, around the time A Fool in Love was released. When Tina and Ike began a romantic relationship, Tina sought refuge in Ike's room to escape the advances of another musician, marking the beginning of their relationship evolving beyond friendship. However, their budding romance was quickly faced with a major obstacle. Surprisingly, Ike was still in a common-law marriage when he began dating Tina. This should have been a clear warning to Tina that challenges lay ahead, as Ike continued to be unfaithful throughout their relationship. These continuous infidelities, often public and with other women, became a recurring problem. But Tina had more pressing concerns to face. The group was renamed the Ike and Tina Turner Revue. They embarked on long tours across the United States, where Tina captivated audiences with her electrifying energy and dazzling performances alongside her backup dancers, known as the Akettes. Meanwhile, Ike stayed in the background, directing the band. Their shows became immensely popular, allowing them to perform as headliners before mixed audiences, even in the southern states where racial segregation was still widespread, bridging the gaps between white and black audiences as well as between the Motown and rock music scenes. Breaking free in the long road back. Tina Turner began wearing wigs early in her career, which became a trademark of her image. This choice did not result from vanity, but from insecurities regarding her appearance and her voice. Tina had always been insecure about her looks and thought her voice was unusual. To compensate, she adorned herself with elaborate wigs, heavy makeup, and flamboyant dresses, often changing outfits several times during each show. This unique style, combined with her dynamic dance moves, set Tina apart from other female stars of her era, many of whom focused solely on singing. In 1960, Tina and Ike welcomed their son Ronnie, Tina's second child, at the age of 22. In 1962, they settled into a house in Los Angeles, where Ronnie joined Tina's eldest son, Craig, as well as Ike's two sons from a previous relationship, all under one roof. Despite her concerns about the balance between family life and a demanding tour schedule, Tina's worries were often ignored. Ike Turner was relentless in his pursuit of success in the music industry, often resorting to violence to assert his control. The first major warning sign that their marriage would not be a fairy tale appeared when Ike insisted they marry in the seedy town of Tijuana, Mexico. After a dull civil ceremony, Ike took Tina to a brothel where they watched a live show, an experience so humiliating that Tina kept the story to herself for decades. Despite many top 10 hits, Tina Turner's public success masked a dark and sinister personal life. Early in their marriage, Tina expressed her reluctance to change her name and her concerns regarding their rigorous tour schedule. In response, Ike reacted violently, hitting her with a wooden shoe stretcher. This incident marked the beginning of a series of abusive episodes. Often, Tina would go on stage shortly after being assaulted by Ike, performing with bruised lips and black eyes, a grueling ordeal that pushed her to the limit. Ike's drug addiction and his emotional and physical abuse weighed heavily on Tina. He was later diagnosed as bipolar, but his rampant infidelity and public exhibitions with other women worsened Tina's anguish. Everything became too heavy to bear. In 1968, Tina attempted to overdose on Valium. Although Tina survived the overdose, the incident brought her striking clarity about her situation and strengthened her determination to escape, reflecting her mother's previous departure. The Ike and Tina Turner Revue experienced its greatest success in 1971 with their rendition of Proud Mary by Creedence Clearwater Revival. The song reached number 4 on the charts, earned them a Grammy Award, and catapulted Tina Turner to stardom with sold-out concerts and television appearances. Yet this period of triumph was abruptly interrupted after Tina separated from Ike. Her already strained relationship with her mother deteriorated further. Tina's mother took Ike's side after the divorce, refusing to recognize Tina's contributions to their success. "She never wanted to give me credit for anything," Tina recalled. Leaving Ike meant Tina had nothing. She didn't even have her own name. She lived with her 4 sons and a personal assistant, relying on food stamps to survive. What worsened the situation was the constant threat of violence. Local thugs shot at her car or her house, terrorizing her to the point that she slept in a closet while her assistant stayed in the children's room. However, this terrifying period only strengthened her determination. In 1978, Tina Turner finalized her divorce from Ike Turner, effectively cutting ties with her tumultuous past and the abusive relationship she had endured. Her terms were simple. She wanted 2 Jaguar cars, some furs, jewelry, and above all, her name, Tina Turner. This name would eventually become her most precious asset. However, the road to regaining her fame was steep. Tina found herself at rock bottom, but was determined to achieve one of the greatest comebacks in rock history. Meanwhile, Ike Turner struggled to get his life back on track after Tina's departure. Fighting his addictions and erratic behavior, he spent several stints in prison and rehab. His life came to a tragic end in 2007 when he suffered a fatal overdose while suffering from terminal emphysema. Tina chose not to attend his funeral, with a spokesperson stating, "Tina has had no contact with Ike for more than 30 years. No further comment will be made." The ultimate comeback in global stardom, Tina Turner grew up surrounded by the Baptist faith at home and in her community. So how did she become a Buddhist? This happened in Los Angeles in 1973, during one of Tina's darkest periods. Introduced to the Buddhist practice of chanting by a friend, Tina found comfort and clarity, which guided her on her path during the 1970s. Tina devoted up to 4 hours a day to chanting, finding strength in her new spiritual practice. Her commitment was such that she even had the honor of meeting the 14th Dalai Lama in 2004. After her divorce, Tina Turner struggled in relative musical obscurity. Despite continuing her tours, she was perceived as a relic of the past, performing in cabarets, hotels, and small clubs. She faced legal battles regarding canceled dates and residency contracts with the Ike and Tina Turner Revue. In the music industry, opportunities for a Black woman over 40 were rare, and support was hard to obtain. During this difficult time, Tina made a controversial decision that would haunt her for years. In 1979, she toured South Africa, a country deeply rooted in apartheid, a system of racial segregation condemned internationally. As a Black artist, Tina faced significant criticism for performing in a country under global sanctions. She later claimed ignorance of the political situation, describing herself as naive regarding the complexities of the South African regime at the time. A turning point came with the rise of music videos in the early 1980s. Tina Turner seized this opportunity under the direction of a new manager, releasing the single Ball of Confusion, which gained some success. Her appearance in the music video marked one of the first times a Black female artist appeared on MTV. Finally, Tina was beginning to rebuild her career. In 1983, Tina Turner found herself with a single that enjoyed significant airplay, but notably not in the United States. Her popularity was skyrocketing in Europe, particularly in the United Kingdom, where record labels were starting to take notice. In Europe, she stood as an independent artist, far from the shadow of Ike Turner, a name that no longer had influence. This marked the beginning of a monumental year for Tina Turner. At 45, Turner finally reached stardom under her own name. Capitol Records approached her to record an album, challenging her to finish it in a UK studio in just 14 days. Collaborators from the British music scene, including Mark Knopfler of Dire Straits, contributed to the writing and arrangement of the tracks. This venture was set to propel Tina Turner into a sphere of fame she had not yet known. The album Private Dancer catapulted Tina Turner to become one of the most prominent stars in rock history. It remains one of the most remarkable stories in modern music. The album's title track, What's Love Got to Do With It, as well as at least 5 other singles, dominated global charts. Private Dancer sold millions of copies, solidifying Tina Turner's triumphant journey from her tumultuous past, finding true love and facing final battles. Long before the infamous Super Bowl incident with Justin Timberlake and Janet Jackson, Tina Turner was already making headlines. In 1985, she performed at the global mega concert Live Aid. During her set with Mick Jagger of the Rolling Stones, Jagger dramatically ripped off his own shirt, danced toward Tina, and ripped off her skirt. She finished the song in just a black leotard, creating a moment that would be talked about for years. Despite the fact that the public saw her as a rock goddess, Tina never perceived herself that way. She often remarked in interviews that she was built like a pony, thinking her legs and arms were more awkward than attractive. She believed she wouldn't turn a single head in her hometown of Nutbush. The rest of the world, however, disagreed. Even after achieving massive success, Tina experienced setbacks in her career. In 1991, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inducted her, but with a hurtful twist. Instead of recognizing her as a solo artist, they inducted the Ike and Tina Turner Review. Fortunately, Ike missed the ceremony due to one of his many stints behind bars. Tina also chose not to attend, understandably not wanting to share the spotlight with her abuser. When you find yourself more interested in decorating your home than performing, it might be time to hang it up. That is exactly what Tina Turner realized during her 2009 tour. Her heart was no longer in it. After a life of battles and victories, who could blame her? In many interviews, she made it clear that she no longer had the desire to perform or go on tour. In 1986, Tina arrived at Heathrow Airport in London and was met by a German music executive named Erwin Bach. They hit it off immediately, marking the beginning of another significant relationship for Tina. Bach and Tina remained together for more than 3 decades before marrying in 2013. But shortly after, disaster struck. 3 weeks after their wedding, Tina suffered a severe stroke that left her unable to walk. However, after overcoming so many trials in her life, it is not surprising that she relearned to walk. However, more trials were still to come. In 2018, Tina Turner published her memoirs, My Love Story, where she spoke about her battle with intestinal cancer in 2016. Having initially opted for homeopathic treatments rather than conventional medicine, she faced severe complications leading to kidney failure. Despite surgeons removing part of her intestine, her kidney problems persisted. During this dark period, Tina's situation seemed desperate. She needed a kidney transplant and felt hopeless, even going as far as considering assisted suicide. She had registered with an organization in Switzerland, preparing for the end. However, an unexpected and beautiful gesture changed everything. In a profound act of love, her husband Erwin Bach offered her one of his kidneys. The successful transplant took place in 2017, symbolizing their deep bond. Tina Turner now literally carries a part of her husband within her. Few people know that Tina Turner gave up her American citizenship in 2013. She had always been more popular in Europe, especially in her later years, living in Zurich since 1994 with her husband. Tina applied for and obtained Swiss citizenship in 2013, officially renouncing her American citizenship. The horrible marriage between Ike and Tina Turner is infamous, but the story of her escape is even more harrowing. In 1976, during a tour, Tina and Ike had a violent argument in a Dallas hotel. That night, while Ike was beating her, Tina seized the moment to flee. Dressed in blood-stained clothes with barely more than 30 cents and a gas station credit card in her pocket, she ran to a friend's house. Shortly after, she filed for divorce. Forgiving someone who caused so much pain is a difficult journey. During interviews for the promotional tour of her memoirs, Tina told the New York Times that she had forgiven Ike Turner. However, it was not a matter of forgiving and forgetting. She explained, "He asked me to do one last tour with him, and I said no, absolutely not. Ike was not someone you could forgive and let back in." Just after overcoming cancer and recovering from a kidney transplant, Tina Turner faced another devastating tragedy. In July 2018, her son Craig committed suicide at the age of 59. Craig, Tina's first son with the band's saxophonist in St. Louis, worked in real estate in California. Tina scattered his ashes in the ocean off the California coast. Tina Turner passed away on May 24, 2023 at the age of 83. Although her death shocked many people, given all the trials and tribulations she endured over the last 2 decades, it is incredible that she went so far. Tina was truly a fighter, and her final days were marked by a beautiful detail. In her final years, Tina enjoyed a peaceful life in her mansion overlooking Lake Zurich in Switzerland. A sign on the door of her home said in German, "Do not ring before noon." Tina Turner, you were simply the best. Rest in peace. You deserve it. Tina Turner's life journey was a testament to her resilience, her strength, and her indomitable spirit. From her tumultuous early years to her rise as a global icon, and finally to her peaceful days by Lake Zurich, Tina's story has inspired millions of people. Reflecting on her incredible legacy, it is heartwarming to hear her husband break his silence and share their story. If this story changed the way you look at the legends of rock and roll, please subscribe and like our channel. We are uncovering the history they tried to bury. Plant the seeds for the future. The next treasure will be revealed soon. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time. Goodbye for now.